When a child is born, a biochemically healthy woman will release an enormous amount of oxytocin into her bloodstream. That oxytocin is also known as the love drug, and it'll force any biochemically healthy woman to nurture her child. Now, when you watch the National Geographic Channel and the zebra is born in the wild, it's the first thing that baby zebra is looking for. It's looking for physical touch. Now, if the mother abandons the little baby zebra, what happens to Stripey? Stripey doesn't survive. So mammals, by nature, produce hormones that ensure nurturing takes place at the critical part of our life where it's required to ensure our survival. When a child is born, it requires physical touch and stimulation in order to activate the lymphatic system, which is the foundation for immunity. Failure to thrive is a condition where their immune system doesn't get activated because they don't receive enough physical touch. Now, by the way, there was one of the world wars, there was an occupying force that went into different territories and they would literally confiscate all the babies. They put them in baby farms and they'd have a nurse that would go around every 3 or 4 hours just putting a bottle of milk in the baby's mouth. Does anyone know what happened to all the babies? They died. When we're born, at a deep psychological level, we're craving physical touch, which is also known at a social level as acceptance. So when we're born, we crave physical touch and acceptance because we know if we don't get it, we will die. But unfortunately, this wiring doesn't go away. This wiring stays with us through our entire life, but it's deeply unconscious. And so we as humans, as mammals, are driven by acceptance. They're driven by community. I just want to be somewhere where I belong. I just want to be accepted for who I am. So as we grow as humans, we start to create our own herds. So right now, you need to look at who are my social herd and who are my business herd. Most entrepreneurs are not surrounded by other entrepreneurs. Say, for example, it's Friday night, okay, and all your friends are at the pub. You're the only entrepreneur. It's 7:45 and you're banging away and you're putting things into place. They'll see that as socially unacceptable behavior. Because you're a part of our social herd, you should be out grazing with us. So they'll say, don't worry about that. Do it on Monday. God, don't worry, you'll be fine. And going, you don't need to do that. Why do you need to do this? Who's actually observed this, by the way? That is what's called corrective behavior. When an individual in a herd starts demonstrating behaviors that is different from the rest of the herd will naturally come in and start doing what's called corrections. Your social set will correct your behaviors because they see that behavior as threatening. Because you're acting different to the rest of the herd. Your psychology will not withstand a strong social herd that is working against you. It won't. You will adapt to your environment. So here's what I know. I've had to consciously choose who I spend time with. I think oftentimes people put way too much value on our bloodlines than we do on our mental health. Does that mean you divorce your family? No. If you really, really do want to help your family, sometimes you need to spend less time with them so you can develop yourself at a level where your psychology becomes strong enough so that when you do have small bursts of time with them, you actually can be more influential. And I know how scary that is. I know how tough it is. I've thrown my phone off a bridge twice as I've gone through my development to get rid of social herds. And I literally got my phone and I just went, poof. I just became aware that my friends were just acidic and I had to get out. And sometimes that's what it takes. And by the way, I say a shitty social herd, they could be the nicest, sweetest, loveliest people, but they just say these little suggestions. They make these little remarks, these little throwaway lines that just get under there and they erode and they niggle and they sabotage what it is that you're trying to do. So what do you need to do? You need to put yourself in a business herd because a good business herd does the opposite of a bad social herd. They correct the behaviors that you shouldn't be doing. You know what? I'm just gonna take it easy today. Why are you doing that? Are you tired? No. Are you making enough money? No. Why wouldn't you just go and do at least 2 or 3 hours of work? Like, that would make sense, wouldn't it? Yeah, I guess you're right. Versus the social herd, I'm gonna take today off. Yeah, you should. You work too hard. It's funny because you fucking heard it, right? It's funny because it's true. But if there was one thing that was disproportionately most potent in creating real transformation in your behavior as a human being, it is knowing, being conscious about who you spend your time with. Out of everything, it is the number one predictor of success. There is an old saying that if you take the incomes of the 5 people that you spend the most time with and you add them up and divide them by 5, you'll have your number.